Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into podcast Room 303. Introducing one co-host with more nuggets than Chick-fil-A, Nick Morahan. Executive producer until we find someone better, Eric Washington. Nobody really knows what he does around here, Nevada Putnam. And now, the single greatest thing to happen to hosting in history, Jermaine Antonio Colon Mendez. On with the show. What it do, Rubies? Welcome back to the room. My name is Jermaine Colon Mendez. This is my co-host for the evening. You got the upgrade. You like that? How you doing, Eric?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Finally get the title I feel I deserve. You know? No, I'm just kidding. Nah, we're gonna miss Nick today, but we have a good episode for you guys.
We're not gonna miss Nick.
Yeah, we're not gonna miss Nick. I'm just trying to make him feel better about his situation. But I mean, I'm all right. You know, took a bad L this week, but hook 'em. We made the college football playoff. Everybody better run. Everybody better be scared because we're coming. We're coming for that ass.
So let's get into the college football playoff here, and then to coincide with that, we'll do the What the Fuck headline. But boy, oh boy,
yeah.
There's two ways to approach this, right? There's two ways to approach it, and there's the one way is to approach it is from the spirit of competition, right, and spirit of what sport is, and that's the way almost everyone grew up approaching it. Right?
Yeah.
You're 13-0 football team for a Power 5 conference, which they pretty much made it evident. If you're undefeated, you're going to get the job done. You know, you're going to qualify, get a berth to the college football playoff. That is not the case any longer, as Florida State was snubbed to allow Alabama, the SEC champ, who defeated Georgia by 3 points, into the college football playoff. And then there's the other way to approach it, which is the business side, right? This is very much the entertainment side of it. ESPN wanted Alabama in.
Yeah.
And that's the moral of the story. So the men who have competed before as coaches, as players, as anything else, as well as the women on that college football playoff committee, had to feed the hand that feeds them, is what it comes down to. But what are your thoughts on Florida State's now, the prevailing storyline going on right now? What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are it's ridiculous. What is the purpose of playing a regular season if it doesn't fucking matter at the end of the year just because you're down your quarterback? Now, I understand, so I was reading some of the criteria for how they decide this, and on their questionnaire, they actually have a slot that talks about injuries, right? Significant key players missing. And of course, all of them checked that for Florida State because we all know Jordan Travis, had that terrible injury. But at the same time, you're going to punish all those players for having an undefeated record, a top five defense in the FBS, right? They may not have had a great offensive performance against Louisville, but Louisville's a top 10 FBS offense, and they kept them to 6 points it was, I believe. I can't remember exactly what the score was.
Yeah, it was a double-digit win. They had 16, so yeah, it'd be 6.
I believe it was 6, yeah. So, I mean, dude, what's the point of these guys playing all these games all year, staying undefeated, busting their ass just to have it taken away from them simply because the media or ESPN or George Soros, somebody said, we need an SEC team in there. It's not fair to them. Texas beat Bama, so Texas was going to get in on that merit alone because we beat the SEC champ, so you can't take us out. But the community really thought it'd be best to keep an SEC team in than an ACC team in, and it's disrespectful to athletes all over the world who bust their ass, and it shows them that nothing matters if you don't go play for a program that the media or whoever wants, to be in the college football playoff. But we're moving to 12 next year, so we'll see. Well, we shouldn't have this issue again, but
they'll find another way to fuck it up.
This year, I completely disagree with what the committee did. But at the end of the day, man, Texas got in, so I don't give a fuck. Washington, you're next. After that, whoever's up after that is next. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy because there's people running around saying that Alabama absolutely had to get in, despite Texas beating them, which effectively eliminates them. The one-loss Big 12 champion beat the one-loss SEC champion.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how it should have gone.
Yeah.
But everyone is a slave to the narrative that the SEC is that much better, even though Alabama struggled through all their SEC games and they got through without losing an SEC game.
Yeah.
Props to you. But you lost to Texas. Florida State did not lose. The obvious choice was the 3 undefeated teams in Texas. They didn't have the stones to do it because everyone sucks the SEC's dick. It's a narrative that has been pushed continually by ESPN, right? When it comes to bowl season, the SEC teams get beat, it's comical. It's Alabama and Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. That is the two teams that people are going to bat for. It's not the Southeastern Conference. No one else has been relevant in the SEC since. It's Alabama or Georgia. They try to make LSU a thing. They got waxed by FSU.
Yeah, and that's. I'm glad you said that. So you look at FSU's record. They knocked off Florida State they knocked off LSU, who has the Heisman winning quarterback. Potentially the Heisman winning quarterback on their team, right? SEC powerhouse. Traditionally speaking, they're an SEC powerhouse. They were 8-3 this year. They lost some tough games. And then you go and look at Alabama, and Alabama had 2 games against teams that were 6-6 that required miracles for them to win, right? And the only loss Texas had came on a last-second touchdown to Oklahoma, which was we're one incompletion away from being undefeated, and all 4 undefeated teams should have gotten in. So just to look at Alabama's resume and say this is a resume that deserves a college football playoff is disrespectful. When they struggled the same way FSU struggled to beat a top 10 FBS offense in Louisville, right? They struggled. They struggled to beat them, but they beat them and they were undefeated. It's not about what you look like doing it. It's about what did you do, and what they did was win 13 games this year. It's
a results-oriented business, and I feel like that is what they threw out the window by picking Alabama. It's crazy. Texas's one loss was on neutral field against their biggest rival, and it was by less than a touch. It was 3 points that we lost by?
We were up 4 and we lost by 3 because they scored a touchdown.
So we lost by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama lost by double digits to the Big 12 champion at home.
Yep.
At home.
Yep.
It wasn't in Darrell K. Royal. It was in Tuscaloosa. It doesn't make sense for people to be beating their chest and saying Alabama, you can't leave an SEC team out.
Yes, you can.
You can. They didn't qualify. Can. This is the spirit of competition. But people are a slave to the narrative, and they gave into it. And they acquiesced, and they desperately wanted Alabama to get in.
So just talking about Alabama really quickly, I found the tweet here. They had a late win against a 6-6 team. They had 2 late wins against 6-6 teams. They had a 3-point win against a 4-8 conference team, and they lost at home by 10 to Texas. So say what you want, Florida State pretty much rolled everybody until the last 2 games, which they still, you go into the swamp against Florida. I don't care about how Florida's playing. That's a giant rivalry matchup in the swamp, and they got it done. Without their quarterback, and their backup quarterback got a concussion in the game, and they still won.
And they still won the game.
So, it's disrespectful.
It is really, really crazy when you kind of think about it from that perspective. Now, there is a fascinating note from Florida State's perspective. Florida State in 1992, Bobby Bowden was on record saying that the easiest path to a national championship was to stay in the ACC. He said it twice. When the SEC approached them for them to join the Southeastern Conference. Bobby Bowden said that twice. So I know it's arbitrary to pull a 30-year-old's comment now and use it as a counterpoint, but we'd be remiss if we didn't at least play devil's advocate. And hold on, before you say anything.
Yeah.
Florida State this offseason tried to raise and get a loan for $120 million. Now, Eric, would you like to ask me what $120 million could do for Florida State?
Sure, Jermaine. What would $120 million do for them?
$120 million is the buyout cost for Florida State to leave the Atlantic Coastal Conference.
Oh, man.
So, look, and I want to play the devil's advocate. Do I think Alabama and Georgia beat Florida State? I think they can. I also think Florida State can. This is why we watch sports. If we knew every single outcome of a matchup, then we wouldn't play them. People would be phenomenal bettors and Vegas would be out of business.
Yeah.
But there is a reason why you play the games.
100%. There
is a reason why Cincinnati plus 10 against the Jacksonville Jaguars with Jake Browning is a crazy line to hear out loud. And then the Bengals winning got it done with Jake Browning looking like a stud, right? There's a reason why you play these football games. If you knew the outcome, there would be no interest. There would be no drama
whatsoever. It's pointless to watch it until the last 4 games of the year.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's pointless to watch then as well, because then in the perceived notion of Florida State not being able to get it done, not to mention they'd have a month to get this quarterback up to speed, right? Because it's a month from now into the game.
Yeah. And
they won the ACC championship with their third stringer, not even the dude who would play in the college football playoff. It leaves a bad taste from a competitive standpoint, right? When all things are equal, they're still not, because there is a narrative that is being a publicly, a prevailing narrative that is dominating the forefront of people's thoughts.
Yeah. And so to speak, there's a couple of things I want to speak to. So first and foremost, when it comes to the SEC, we can also blame other teams, including Texas and OU, by giving the SEC that sort of, by saying, hey, we want to go join them because it's more competitive. We have a better chance at national titles. That just feeds into the media. That just gives the media more.
That's not what they went to the Southeastern Conference for. They went to the Southeastern Conference for money. It wasn't about more competitive. It wasn't about getting shots at titles. Do not get mistaken. USC and UCLA did not join the Big Ten for anything other than money, because Pac-12 was about to get a shit television contract because nobody stays up late enough to watch Pac-12 football. Yeah. That is why they moved to the Big Ten. Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 has nothing to do with competitiveness. Has nothing to do with it, because they are less likely to qualify for a championship now in the Southeastern Conference, because they are playing different teams. They are playing teams that prioritize football. Yeah. That spend money, that have boosters that will pay NIL money. The whole reason Texas and Oklahoma went there is all money. It is because the ESPN sucks Texas's dick. See Longhorn Network. I totally understand that. If anyone wants to, I'm on board. It should have been the Big 12 Network. I agree with everything. They suck Texas's dick, and they suck the Southeastern Conference's dick. Combine them together, it's less dick for them to suck.
Yeah, okay. Well, I get the money aspect of it, and it's capitalism. It's the United States of America. These are these boosters. These clubs are they're there to make money, right? So I get all that, but in the spirit of competition, let's leave the money out of it. The SEC is kind of where you want to be for a little bit tougher competition. I'd say more balanced, tougher competition. There's good teams in the Big 12. There's good teams in the Pac-12. Clearly, Oregon and Washington all year. USC. There's competition everywhere.
Pac-12 was the best conference this year.
It was. But going back to Florida State, that Rodemaker kid was the 27th ranked prospect coming out of high school, right? So what are we telling? Like, what's the value of having a 27th ranked prospect if the committee's going to look at it and be like, well, we don't care. He hasn't done anything, right? And I get he hasn't done anything, but he won 2 games. He won 2 games. He won an ACC title, and he won against the Florida Gators in the Swamp. Those are huge matchups. And if he's a 27th ranked prospect coming in out of high school.
He didn't play the ACC championship game. He was concussed.
Oh, yeah, that other kid played. Oh, yeah, I want to know what that other kid – what did he throw, like 50 yards that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they would have had Rodemaker back. And the kid –
exactly what I'm saying.
The kid would have proven – the kid proved himself against Florida. I don't care. That's a Power 5 conference. It's an SEC team, multiple national titles, history of great football. And – I mean, we've exhausted it. We've been on this for 15 minutes, but it's just.
Let's get into the what the fuck headline.
Yep.
It defeats the spirit of competition. Mm-hmm. And if I'm a Florida State kid, what am I supposed to do?
There's nothing they can do.
What else could they have possibly done? You imagine being the stud defensive end or the stud cornerback on that team, and they just pretty much said you weren't good enough.
Dude, if you're that receiver that they got from Michigan State's a fifth-year senior, he's leaving. They got the
Keon Coleman.
They got the 2 defensive linemen that are projected to be, day 1 or day 2 picks. These guys are all seniors. This is it for them. They don't get another chance at this, and they've been there at that program. Well, no, the quarterback and the wide receiver transferred, but the D linemen, they were there. And they put in the time, and they built that program up, and they got, what's his name, Norvell? I can't remember his name, but
yeah, Mike.
What's his first? Mike Norvell. Okay, they got, he came into the program and said he was going to turn around and got them in the national title. Got them in national title.
They did what they were supposed
contention
to do.
for it is what I'm trying to say.
They did what everyone said you're supposed to do, and then they looked at them and said, "No, you aren't so and so."
They did everything right just to have it taken away from them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Life isn't fair. Football is a business. And it's no longer about competition.
Exactly. All right. Well, so here's our headline. Still staying in the college football world. Dead Longhorn found at Oklahoma State frat before Big 12 title game.
Yeah, so go ahead and read it, and then we'll get into the commentary.
So basically, police found a dead Longhorn at a fraternity in Oklahoma State. It was they had some expletives written on it, blah, blah, blah. They're investigating it. They're going to consider it animal cruelty, which is actually a felony. The fraternity has said they are going to defer all matters and leave it in the police hands. No statements have been made outside of that. But it was a carcass, and I don't know what the expletive read. Do you know what the expletive read?
I didn't look into it.
Okay.
I was so pissed I didn't look into it.
Yeah.
And that's where the commentary comes from. The expletive was carved into the animal.
Yeah.
As well as the stomach being cut open. So look, at the Oklahoma State, they are called the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oklahoma and Texas fight over a cowboy hat. Those are 2 very much states intrinsically entrenched in cowboy lore and what it means to be a cowboy. And the steer or a longhorn is like sacred to cowboys, right? You're supposed to be the shepherd. You're supposed to be the person who takes care of them. So from that perspective, it was very upsetting to see that an innocent animal lost its life because I don't know, some dudes decided to get drunk. And then it's just not in keeping with how people view those animals in that region of the country.
Yeah.
Right. So just on a multi-fold platform, I've never been so disgusted from a story, that involved college football before like this.
Yeah.
And I just could not believe it. So I'll let you give your thoughts on what it was. But from that perspective, I was blown away. So from a Texan / cowboy,
yeah, where ranching is a giant part of the culture, giant part of the history. My take on it is this: why? What's the point of that? What does that prove? That doesn't send a message to us. And secondly, I eat meat. I love steaks. I love burgers. I love brats, all that shit. But I will say this: animals that die for humans to have sustenance, for us to live, I get that. But to just kill a poor cow, I mean, I know that they don't talk. We don't know if they feel pain or whatever.
They absolutely feel pain.
I'm sure they do. But they killed this animal for no reason other than a shit talking method or whatever. What would you want to call it? Intimidation? It doesn't make sense to me why you had to go and do that. Why don't you just talk shit like the normal people do? You know what I mean?
It's kind of crazy. I just had a blast in Minnesota where the fans were shit talking me the whole time, so I started shit talking back, and my team was getting their ass kicked. But that's how you handle sports. It's not. But
I wear an Eagle. I wear a Philadelphia sporting team's a piece of apparel for one of the sporting teams every day. I love these teams, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to commit a felony for these fucking teams.
Also, it didn't gain them anything.
You don't gain anything. You're not getting paid by the organization. You're not getting paid by anybody to do this. This is a stupid act. It's a selfish act. It's a horrendous act, and it's a crime.
Not only that, it's going to ruin some kid's life.
he's gonna. Well,
kids or kids.
Yeah, I mean, he'll never be able to adopt a dog or anything with animal cruelty. And so let's say this kid grows up, he has a kid.
He's gonna go to jail. They have the proof. They have the carcass. A cow doesn't get an expletive carved into it. Just because of wind patterns, Eric. It's not a naturally occurring event. This kid's life is ruined for a Big 12 championship, but that his team didn't even show up in.
Yeah, they got blasted. But also, this just goes to show that nowadays, people really don't think about the consequences of their actions. And nobody ever wants to take accountability anymore. I hope this kid steps up and takes accountability for what he did.
No way he's going to.
Of course he's not. He's a fucking Oklahoma State fan. He's a pussy.
He's going to get ratted out.
Yeah.
Look, it's absolutely bonkers that this was like the tactic, right? I can understand taking a pipe to your competitor's knee to win a gold medal.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
Maybe.
From at least that had an impact.
Yeah, at least what you're doing is directly affecting your competition.
At least it's directly resulting in a W. Now, is there some shenanigans afoot with that as well? Sure.
Maybe.
But from that perspective, I'm like, okay, well, she's doing something to guarantee a dub, right?
Yeah.
This has no impact on anything or anyone at all other than to piss people off.
Yeah.
In both communities. This is not a Texas Longhorns outrage. I'm sure Oklahoma State's entire fan base was pissed the fuck off.
Now, what I'm curious as is you've been to Texas. I don't know if you've driven through Oklahoma. There's ranch land everywhere. So what I think happened is these kids just hopped the fence. Somehow they lured a cow out, killed it, loaded it up into their truck, dragged it out, carved it out, and threw it on the lawn. Shouldn't the owner, the cows have tags, right? All of them?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that guy have some sort of say and be like, hey, you stole a fucking $20,000? I don't know how much a cow costs. I'm a ballpark.
No.
$20,000 cow for
It's a prized bull as well that you use to breed your calf and litter.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I'm finally putting on my Texas hat on this.
Yeah.
But if it's a prized bull that you use to breed your females, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money.
Oh, it's so much more money. Because that is how you ensure the quality of cow for future generations.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you keep the strong ones and keep
that could be a huge issue. And Oklahoma, a large part of their economy is predicated on ranching.
Yeah.
So I could not imagine Oklahoma State fans were thrilled.
The more I talk about it, the more I think this guy should get the death penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going with that. I really don't want them to see jail time, but it's already.
Nah, fuck that.
They already have the
accountability.
Yeah,
people need accountability.
Look, that's true. In today's society, you should absolutely have accountability.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we spent enough time on this What the Fuck headline. Let's go ahead and get into the head-to-head. But before we do that, let's get into head-to-head.
Get into it?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Last week was week 47.
Oh, lost to anytime touchdown.
Tough week for all of us. Well, three of us. Jermaine went 0-3. Man, if fucking Bijan would have just caught that. Dude, you scored 8. Hill and Monty scored what in the first 5 minutes of the game?
I know. I should have put Rashad White with Hill and Monty, dude.
Dude, that would have been sick. And then fucking Louisville and Georgia just really fucked everything up for you. But you're 49, 85, and 1. Down 9.8 units. You made a little made a little headroom there, but fell back a little bit. Nick 0-3. It's nothing new. It's pretty much the standard for him at this point. 44, 90, and 2 on the season, down 10.1 units. He is now in last place as far as units are concerned. I went 2-1. I think I should start sticking to NBA bets from here on out. But 50, 85 on the season, up 2.5 units. And Nevada went 1-2, putting him at 49, 83, and 1, down 4.3 units. Nevada, when you hear this episode, I want you to know that you should only put NHL bets in. I went through and I was going to do this for everybody. I only was able to finish Nevada, but he has a higher hit percentage on hockey bets than he does any other sport. I will get these numbers for everybody at the end of the year.
Yeah, we don't want those numbers.
All right. Bet. You don't get them then.
You suck at every sport, Jermaine.
It's all bad, dude. All bad.
Why do you keep taking it off? Let's go ahead and get into pop culture.
I don't know. I just keep doing it out of habit. Pop culture pick'em. Top 5 sports moments you've seen live or in person or on TV. So, no Nick today. We're going to do this one pretty quickly. Jermaine, you have the first pick. Go ahead and take it away.
I mean, the number one pick here is onside kick in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, Saints onside kick, versus the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl is absolutely the best.
Yeah. Nobody in their right mind thought that was going to happen.
And when it happened, people were still shocked he did it. There was a feeling in the stadium after the Saints had recovered the onside kick, like, what the fuck just happened?
I remember that Super Bowl because my dad, we were grilling for that, and my mom wanted something that we forgot at the store, something that nobody else wanted, right? My mom wanted it. My dad loves my mom, so he goes to gets it, and he calls me, and he's like, Eric, let me know when when we're getting close to the halftime being over because I want to be back for that. So let me know when the halftime show ends so I can just cut it short and come back. I text him. There was an accident on the road on the way back from the store. And you've been to my hood back in the day. It's one street in and one street out.
It's gotten much better.
It's gotten much better. Back then it was one street in, one street out. So my dad had to sit in traffic. And when I tell you that I told him there was an onside kick coming out of half, he was like, no fucking way. No coach is right man would do this. And I was like, he did. And it paid off. And I'll never forget that. But for my first pick, sticking to kind of the similar topic here, the Philly special in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right on par. We had a huge party at my house for that Super Bowl. Like, we had...
Were you already out of AZ?
No, not for Philly. For the Saints.
Oh, for the Saints.
For the Saints. We had chairs everywhere. Yeah. And I'm running through my house, which has a good pattern to run through. And I'm just yelling like, what the fuck? Because there was no way it should have happened. The Philly special play was nice, but it's not the onside kick.
Man, both had significant.
Bro, it is not the same thing to throw a pass to a quarterback than to kick an onside kick in the Super Bowl.
A backup quarterback in the Super Bowl?
It is not the same thing.
I'm going to put it up there, but that's because I'm biased. So
if your quarterback was wide open, you should throw him that fucking rock.
They should have played better defense.
I'm just saying, it's not the same thing.
You got to man up and put somebody on QB, dude.
It is not the same thing. We will put a poll out to the masses. So those of you who are listening right now, let us know which play is maybe not better, but which one takes more stones to call?
Oh, the onside kick coming out of half takes
That's
more
what I'm
stones
saying.
To call. 100%.
For sure.
But honestly, dude, the stakes are high. It's the fucking Super Bowl for both of these.
That's
games,
why.
right?
That's why we're comparing.
So I think the stakes are equally high. I think. Yes, onside kicks are less. Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that because you got to look at the conversion rate for onside kicks. What is it, like 8%?
The sex. No, yeah, the success rate of onside kicks, and now it's even less. But back then it was probably 1 in 5, and that might be way too high.
That's way too high. I've seen 5 onside kick recoveries in my lifetime.
That's exactly okay. So you I was about to pick UConn versus North Carolina after this shenanigans.
Oh, dude,
just
honestly,
to be spiteful, dude.
I'm not gonna pick it now, but just to be spiteful, I had the Stephon Diggs. Just to fuck with you, I was gonna say the Stephon Diggs.
Dude, I do not care about the Minnesota Vikings or the Minneapolis Miracle. That game,
there was a lot of shit that went wrong.
They changed the rule that year, and the reason why Marcus Williams went to hit the way he did is because you can't hit defenseless receivers anymore.
Yeah,
it's a great play for Minnesota. It resulted in nothing. If you want to say anything that will piss me off, bring up the Rams pass interference play.
Oh, the one on yeah.
That is so much more egregious than the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah.
They scored 7 points after that play.
Yeah.
So, fuck off. That play has no bearing or impact on me.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that because if something like that happened against me with Philly, oh, boy.
Bro, you'd lose your head.
I'd never bounce back from it, dude.
You'd lose your head.
I haven't bounced back from Sunday yet. It's fucking Tuesday, and I'm fucking depressed still. But anyway, next pick, I'm going to go with I have a long list here. I'm going to go with Pavard's crazy goal in the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah, that was one of mine, so I had that for 5, though. So since Eric doesn't want to give any context, I'll go ahead and do it here. It was round of 16. France was taking on Argentina in the 2018 World Cup. Go figure, since they did rematch in the final of the 2022 World Cup. Benjamin Pavard, a bouncing ball is crossed from the other side. It bounces on the ground, and it's up in air. on a volley strike. Benjamin Pavard hits this thing on a line.
35, 40 yards.
And he strikes top left corner. It wins goal of the tournament for the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah.
France ends up beating Argentina 4-3 in another classic, which is ironic that I don't know if we took the over in the France-Argentina game.
In the 2022?
In 2022.
We should have
because
seen the old final.
It was 4-3.
Yeah.
And this new one ended up being, was it 4-4? Or 3-3?
3-3 with penalties.
3-3 with penalties?
Yeah.
I mean, those two teams, instant classic when it comes to World Cup. So that's a fantastic goal. That's on my list. It was on my list.
Nice.
Here I'll go. I got to get one back, so I know you won't pick these other ones. I'm going to go ahead and take Mbappe's hat trick in the 2022 World Cup. I mean, talk about a singular Herculean performance in 120 minutes of soccer.
Yeah.
And it was the grandest stage of sport. It was the world all tuned in at once. It was such a raucous occasion. Like, I don't think that moment can be topped, sports wise, unless like from an unbiased standpoint, right? And I am biased on that, but from a scale and scope and impact of what that game was, like, I don't know if you'd have to go through, and it can only be Super Bowls, it can only be Game 7s, it can only be national championship, runs. It can only be something that big, and even then, is it even that big? Because those World Cup
Nothing
ratings,
as big as the World Cup.
Those ratings, I mean,
1.5 billion people tuned in.
The world, you know what I mean? Like an eighth plus of the world was watching at that moment.
1.5 billion.
Yeah, exactly. And it's 8 billion in the world. It's probably more now with all the bursts and stuff, but that is so crazy to me. So I'm going to go with that hat trick in the World Cup. Again, it was a young GOAT taking on now who many who say is the GOAT. I'm not on that train, but that's just
people
me.
Are saying he's the GOAT. Well, you know what? Let's not get into it.
They say Messi's the GOAT.
Oh, Messi. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Again, you got to listen.
No, we went from Mbappe to talk about, and then I
said it was a young GOAT versus who people consider the GOAT.
Yeah, maybe.
Then I'll go Alvin Kamara, 6 touchdowns on Christmas, wearing the Grinch cleats that the NFL fined him for. That's an iconic moment because it was in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
Right? And Alvin Kamara is going off for 6 touchdowns with these mismatched cleats. The NFL's losing their fucking mind because he can't wear Christmas colors because the Saints are black and gold. And it was just something truly special. It's NFL on Christmas, empty stadium, 6 touchdowns. Like, I mean, that's just bonkers to me. When you actually scope it out, that the odds are it's almost like one of those Major League Baseball stats.
Yeah. No, dude. It was that was a crazy game, and I wish the NFL would stop fucking harassing these players and just let them express themselves. Those cleats were dope as shit,
bro. It's so crazy to not let these players show personality.
It doesn't make sense, man. You just got a bunch of old fucking hillbillies fucking own every team and shit. But with my third pick, oh man, I'm gonna go. Simply because he had the audacity to do it in a championship game, I'm going to go with Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juve in the UCL final. That shit was wild.
So I love that Ronaldo made this list because one of my honorable mentions, and I'll just go ahead and give it here, is the Ronaldo header that you said wasn't impressive.
That's on my list too because it is impressive. It's a 13-foot header, dude.
You said it wasn't impressive.
I know, but dude, my natural instinct is just to hate on anything. So I have to reel it back in sometimes and then actually understand the significance of it. The fact that he did that in a game, just for everything to line up, he jumped so high to get that, dude.
It was old man Ronaldo too. This was not young man Ronaldo.
And what people don't understand is when you do a header, normally it's coming like this, and you have to get a good portion on your head on it to control the direction. That means this man was 13 feet high in the air. And he hit it down into the corner, which means he got the majority of his head on it, which is just crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what the NBA, how high is a rim?
10
feet, right?
Yeah.
So my man's was head and shoulders
above
it. He was eye level, damn near eye level with the top of the backboard to hit this ball into the net. And I had to sit here I had to defend the greatness of this play to you when it happened.
I was just hating, dude. Yeah. I've never forgiven Ronaldo for beating France in the Euro. Ever. I will never forgive him for that. I don't care how great
he was hurt.
Fucking crying on the side.
He didn't even finish the game. He got hurt. And you still blaming him. That's funny as fuck.
And then number 4. You know where I'm going with this?
Vince Young.
Vince Young, baby.
Vince Young in the Rose Bowl.
Vince Young, Rose Bowl against...
It's the greatest college football game I've ever seen. And again, bias there. But I think that's the greatest college football game ever played. You had 2 Heismans on one side. You had the guy who probably should have won the Heisman that year. You know, fed up. You had the clash of titans between USC. You know, that Leinart Reggie Bush team was special. And then you just had Vince Young just put on what he did all year long to get that.
Vince Young won that game for them, right? Because he you can tie everything back to something Vince Young did. A 3rd and 10 run.
Yeah.
A 3rd and 8 completion. The 4th and 1 touchdown into the corner. You can tie it all back to Vince Young. My favorite memory, just because I hated USC, was that stupid fucking Reggie Bush fumble that cost him the national title. I'm so happy Reggie Bush lost his team the national title by doing that fumble.
Yeah, and then he got him vacated anyways.
Yeah. Well, so that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that should have happened, but it's funny because of my hate for Reggie Bush and USC, I could never get on board with Reggie Bush being on the Saints. So I'll round out my next picks here. I'm going to go ahead and say God calling timeout in Game 7 of the Cubs World Series. That's how I affectionately refer to that Game 7. Because there was a rain delay that paused play, which made me sit there in even more agony.
We ran and got beer. Remember, we had deleted all the beers, and then we were like, "Fuck, we're not gonna have more beers for the last inning." And then the rain delay happened. We were like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, I mean, I went to get beer, but doesn't mean I was in the doesn't mean that's where my head was at. In body, I was there. Yeah. You know what I mean? In mind and spirit, I was somewhere else.
God said, sprinkle, sprinkle, get your shit together, Chicago.
Exactly. God called timeout so the Cubs could win a World Series.
Hey.
And then it's down to 2 basketball plays, and I'll take the more recent one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Derrick Rose's dunk on Goran Dragic.
That was filthy.
I don't want to talk about Derrick Rose no more, though.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
That was filthy, though. I have a bunch on my list here. I'm going to stay away from my NBA one because it's pretty generic. And I'm going to go with something that touches really close to home. It was a big game for us. Deshaun Jackson's last-second punt return touchdown against the Giants.
The miracle at MetLife.
Yeah, dude.
Miracle in the Meadowlands is what they called it?
Meadowlands, yeah.
Yeah. New Jersey was never the same. I love taking that dig at New York because I think a majority of New York sports teams play in New Jersey.
Football, right? I know the NBA teams.
Jets and Giants for sure.
Yeah, I know the
Madison
NBA
Square
teams
Garden
are actually in New York and Brooklyn. Baseball is now officially in New York. All of it, right? Because I know Yankee Stadium's always been in New York, but what's it called? The Mets played in Jersey for a while, didn't they?
They got a new field. Is it still Citi Field? Do the Mets still play at Citi Field?
I thought it was Citi Field.
Mets Stadium. Citi Field, yeah. It's in Queens, yep.
Queens?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are, a bunch of queens that can't win a World
Series.
Series.
Maybe it's just the football teams I like to make fun of. Either way, it's fucking hysterical.
Well, they should just be called the New Jersey Giants and
that's
New Jersey
what I'm
Jets.
saying.
It's
They
fucking
should
bullshit.
be. They should be.
And it shouldn't be the fucking Arizona Cardinals. It should be the Glendale Cardinals. And it shouldn't be the Dallas Cowgirls. It should be the Fort Worth or the Arlington Cowgirls. No, I'm just kidding. Just
get real petty with everything. Because what's funny is a lot of teams don't play in like the city that they rep.
What is it? A New England? That is not even a place on a map. I know what it's an area.
It's a shot at England every time we win the Super Bowl.
Hey.
Honorable mention: Tony Kukoc diving out of bounds to save the basketball, rolls it towards their offensive basket. Scottie Pippen streaking down the sideline, scoops the ball, yams it home. It was a playoff game, so that was pretty fucking sick. there's just been fantastic finishes. Watching the SDSU hit that game-winning shot to make it to the NCAA championship game at Petco was something awesome. Watching on the big screen with all the San Diego.
Dude, that's actually, I didn't even think to put it on the list because I have no real attachment to UCSD, but that was a great fucking moment to be in that stadium with all those fans. And they had it on the Jumbotron, and to see it all was pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. Let's see. You got all the shots in basketball, right? Like Kyrie Irving, LeBron in the 2016 final. You got to give them props on that.
I put the 3-1 comeback on there. I put the shot in the block.
Kevin Durant, splashing on the Cavs after a missed Kyle Korver 3.
Yeah. I have Ray Allen's step back.
Ray Allen 3 for the Heat. That's right. Yeah. Anything Robert Horry did his entire career.
Anything Robert Horry did is the perfect answer.
Derek Fisher's .4,
which now we know
you can get a shot off in 0.4 seconds.
That is literally the least amount of time that you can get. If it's 0.3, you will not score. If it's 0.4,
ball is still in your hand.
Literally have to poke it in, or else it's not gonna happen. I don't know how he got that off, man. I still don't think he got it off.
I don't know. I'm not gonna take that away from him. I'm not in the business of doing that. Yeah. I didn't really watch this, but going back and reliving it, the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls is just mythical.
Yeah.
It's like the best dynasty that never was. Like, they're not mentioned as one of the best football teams. They ran the AFC for 4 years.
Hey, man.
Right? Like, for 4 straight years, they won the AFC championship and were in the Super Bowl. And if they didn't have the Minnesota Vikings kicking blues, then you know what I mean? Or the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks seem to miss all the time. Chicago Bears, yeah. Another team with the infamous kicking woes, the double doink. Those are just some of the things that pop in my head.
I had, a lot of my stuff is just stuff that touches close to home. So the AI, Tyronn Lue step over. I'll never, ever in my life. I get dementia. I get Alzheimer's. I will not forget that moment. And then Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick's their first game against Washington. That fucking 80-yard bomb from Vick to Deshaun Jackson is still one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Like, it looked like Vick just flicked it, dude. Like, he just bloop, and it just went 70 yards downfield. It was bonkers.
All right, so we still got a little bit to get into. That wraps up PCP. I had the Saints onside kick in the Super Bowl. And Eric took that off the screen, so let me go pull that
my
up.
bad, I know you were looking at it.
Mbappe hat trick in the 2022 World Cup. Alvin Kamara 6 touchdowns. Game 7 Cubs World Series. God called timeout. Derrick Rose dunk on Dragic. You had the Philly special in the Super Bowl. For Eric, Pavard's goal in the 2018 World Cup versus Argentina. Ronaldo's bicycle kick in the UCL versus Juve. Was it versus Juve? Yeah, he was with Real, right? That's one.
He was with Real, and it was against Juve.
Yeah. Vince Young, Rose Bowl against USC. Deshaun Jackson, walk-off punt return versus the New York Giants.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the NBA Cup.
NBA Cup. All right. So, I just want to give you a quick rundown of how the tournament played out, and then we can get into the elimination stage. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, Group A, the Lakers won that group. 4 wins, 0 losses on a plus 74-point differential. That group was the Lakers, Suns, Jazz, Trailblazers, and Grizzlies. The Suns actually got the wild card. There was one wild card from each
conference.
From each conference.
Each conference.
Each side, yeah. So the Suns actually got that with the 3-1 record. The Minnesota Timberwolves could have got the wild card for the Western Conference. They were 3-1, but they had an even point differential.
Yeah, the point differential. Yeah.
Yeah, and then moving into Group B, the Pelicans won that group 3-1 with a plus 33-point differential. It was also the Rockets, Mavericks, Nuggets, and Clippers. The Clippers, Nuggets, and Mavericks all finished, or actually the Clippers finished 1-3, Nuggets and Mavericks finished 2-2, as well as the Rockets. That is not how I thought that group was going to go. The third Western Conference table, which is Group C, the Kings won 4-0 with a plus 30-point differential. In that group was the Timberwolves 3-1, Warriors 2-2, Thunder 1-3, and the Spurs with all their Wembanyama, 0-4.
That was an outstanding group to watch, though. Those games with Oklahoma City and the Warriors and the Timberwolves Warriors, the Timberwolves Thunder, those were all fantastic games to watch.
Yeah.
And the Kings were head and shoulders above them all in that group.
They were. We'll get into that in a little bit. For the East now, Group A, Pacers, Cavaliers, 76ers, Hawks, Pistons. Pacers won 4-0. They won that group plus 39-point differential. No wild card out of that one. Group B, the Bucks, Knicks, Heat, Hornets, Wizards. The Bucks went 4-0 plus 39-point differential. They won that group. The wild card does come out of Group B. It is the New York Knicks at 3-1 with a plus 42-point differential. The Cavaliers were 3-1, but they only had a plus 29-point differential, which is why the Knicks got it. And then for Group C, we have the Celtics, Magic, Nets, Raptors, Bulls. Celtics went 3-1 with a plus 27-point differential. Magic also went 3-1, but they only had a plus 22, so they did not get the wild card. Setting up a Pacers, Celtics, Bucks, Knicks for the Eastern Conference quarterfinals, and for the Western Conference quarterfinals, Lakers, Suns, Kings, Pelicans. And we began eliminations knockout stage play last night. Jermaine, I'll let you take it from here. I'm going to present on the screen so you can talk about it.
Yeah, so that Celtics winning that group over the Magic actually took – so the Celtics' last game in that group was against the Chicago Bulls. They needed to beat the Chicago Bulls by 23 points or more. And the Chicago Bulls put up little to no resistance. They ended up losing that game by 27, which I believe is the exact point differential that the Celtics had, right?
Celtics had let me tell you. 20. That doesn't make sense. Hold on. 27. Yeah, exactly.
So they had the exact point differential from what they beat the Chicago Bulls as. I just wanted to spotlight the ineptitude of my team, even though they're on 2-game win streak. What? So that brings us to our Elite Eight. For those of you who are into the March Madness, that sets us up with a Lakers-Suns matchup. It sets us up with a Kings-Pelicans matchup. That sets us up with a Bucks-Knicks matchup. And that sets us up with a Pacers-Celtics matchup. Today is Tuesday, December 5th. We watched the first quarterfinal matchups yesterday, which consisted of the 2 versus 3 matchups. You had the Celtics take on the Pacers. You had the Pelicans take on the Kings. The New Orleans Pelicans were blitzed out the gate by the home crowd and the Sacramento Kings, and were down 15 in the first quarter, battled back in that immediate quarter to be down 2 at the end of the first 12 minutes, the first frame, as some would say. And then the Pelicans proceeded to put it on the Sacramento Kings. They just out-toughed them all over the floor. The Pelicans have a bevy of length at all positions that seems to be very, very frustrating. Depending on what they get out of Zion Williamson here forward, because he does look entirely out of shape. Charles Barkley even addressed it on the TNT halftime show yesterday. He looks out of shape. I know that is an issue that's going on, and just my perception from watching him play is if he's not out of shape, he's hurt, and nobody's telling you anything. The other matchup that happened yesterday was the red-hot Indiana Pacers, who are on pace offensively to set a league-best offensive rating at 128 point something, some change, right? I think it's going to be the best ever in NBA history. It's how hot they are offensively. Take on the Boston Celtics, who many believe are one of the favorites to win it all this year. This matchup, despite the Kings never really able to get back into it, that matchup was good. But this Pacers-Celtics matchup was back and forth, ebbs and flows, tough shot making, great basketball. They legitimately played defense, which is not something that I could say of the Indiana Pacers all season long. This game, what it proved to me was that NBA teams are not trying during the regular season.
To add a little context to what you just said, the Indiana Pacers, I'm going to guess what their defensive ranking is this year.
their defensive ranking this year.
Yeah.
Well, considering that Tyrese Halliburton, who I've been told is good at defense, has a defensive rating 120.6. I'm going to go ahead and say that their defensive rating is 122.
So they're ranked 28th with 120.2.
Oh, I should have stuck with my Tyrese Halliburton stats.
Now, we did discuss we did discuss the top teams here. For defense, me and you the other day. Who do you think the top two are?
The top two defensive teams?
Yeah. As far as I'm going based off of defensive rating because it encapsulates everything.
Yeah, the defensive rating. Yeah. So I'm going Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep, correct. 106.7.
And man, the guards on this team have been playing some outstanding defense, and I know that they have been good defensively, so I'm going to say the Orlando Magic.
4 at 109.3. I'll let you guess again. But good shit on Orlando.
So, yeah, the guards have been outstanding, and Jonathan Isaac is playing again, who is just a defensive just menace. I want to say the Oklahoma City Thunder then.
They're 5th at 109.5.
Oh, man, my boy.
Dude, there's some young squad. So, I'll give you this. Orlando 4, Oklahoma City 5, Houston 6.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dylan Brooks came in. Ime Udoka came in, which is an even bigger addition to Dylan Brooks. I don't want to slander Dylan Brooks. Like that dude competes on defense, and I love to see it.
He's a scared little bitch after he loses, but he does compete his ass off.
He does compete, and he's not scared of anyone.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not surprising. And Ime is a fantastic defensive coach. Fantastic. So that's 6. So it's not the Magic, it's not the Thunder. I might not get this.
Do you want me to just give it to you? I'll give you one more time.
Give me 1 second. Let me try this.
The 2 and 3 teams are a big rivalry.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's the teams that I think it is. Is it Knicks Celtics?
Exactly. It's Boston's 2, Celtics. Boston's 2, Knicks are 3.
Okay. Yeah. So the Celtics took kind of a hit because Kristaps Porzingis has already missed some time. Stop me if you heard that before. And then the Knicks with Tom Thibodeau, right? Fantastic defensive coach. You just know that they're going to bring their hard hats to lunch. No, this has been a great season of basketball so far. The NBA Cup has been fantastic. I wish they would stop calling it the in-season tournament and just call it the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
Or don't call it the NBA Cup and just call it the NBA in-season tournament. But the NBA Cup is a better ring. It's quicker to say. It's easier to type. Like, in-season tournament is awful. Whoever thinks that is good branding is crazy. And Eric and I talked about this, just like with UEFA, right? It's the UEFA
Champions League.
Isn't it Emirates Champions League or is
no,
it
the Emirates FA Cup? And then there's a couple of them, but yes, they all have a sponsor who hosts
So just put the NBA Verizon Cup.
Dude, Crypto.com Arena or Crypto.com NBA Cup.
Crypto.com is out of business.
That's why we should do it.
Get the fuck out of here. The fact that they still have an arena name is so funny.
Bring back Staples.
All right, so let's get into this. Pacers beat the Celtics. Pelicans beat the Kings, as we already discussed. The other 2 matchups going on tonight are going to be Milwaukee versus the Knicks. I don't know why I used mascot and city. That's just how it goes. And then it's going to be the Lakers versus Phoenix. I just kept the trend.
Yeah.
Who do you got winning the Lakers-Suns matchup? Do we know who's in for the Suns?
There's money on the line. It's LeBron's going to win this game by 50.
Yeah, are the Suns even healthy?
I do got odds here. So, damn it, I had the NBA Cup odds up. But let's do game lines. So the Knicks are 5-point dogs, and the Lakers are 1.5-point favorites against Phoenix. So Phoenix is 1.5 dogs.
Wow. The Phoenix is 1.5 dogs?
1.5 dogs, yes.
So Bradley Beal's out and Gabe Vincent's out for injury report. Game time decisions for Phoenix are Eric Gordon. For the Lakers, this is so stupid because they're not missing. It's Vanderbilt, Hachimura, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James.
Yeah, because any one of those guys is missing the NBA Cup fucking semi or quarterfinals.
LeBron and AD are not missing. Maybe one of those two other.
500,000 on line, dude. LeBron will fucking leave his family for this shit, bro.
Bro, like there's no chance. So LA minus 1.5. So KD and Devin Booker. This is going to be in crypto.com, the artist formerly known as Staples. That's how I'm going to refer to that stadium from now on. I think smart money is to ride LeBron and AD on this one.
Facts.
They plus 73 was their differential in the group stage. They were struggling at the very beginning of the season because they had injuries. They were still working out the rotation, still trying to figure out minutes and all that, right? They bounced back. Lakers are, I believe they were 5 or 6 games above 500 right now. So it's neither here nor there. I could actually look it up too. So they're 12 and 9, and the Suns are 12 and 8. So that, both really, really good teams. I'm just going to go with LeBron and AD, just because of how dominant they were in the actual NBA Cup. It seems like the Lakers are getting up for this. And then you got to feel for the guys who are sitting on the end of the bench who aren't playing, but 500,000 is a 100% increase on their year salary.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're hoping somebody steps up and wins them so they can get that money, dude.
So I would say Lakers spread over 231. I think that a lot of points are actually no teams are trying now. It's not just regular season.
Yeah, but
hoops.
if you look at yesterday's games, they both, regardless of how much they're trying, they're still high offenses. They're high offensive games.
Yeah. So we'll do over 231, and I think KD and LeBron do something special tonight. So I think that's must-see TV. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into the Knicks Bucks here. Give us the odds.
The New York Knicks the Milwaukee Bucks are 5-point favorites. The over/under set at 229.5. Bucks money line minus 192. Knicks money line plus 160. I just want to give you a real quick. Remember, we said the Knicks were a top 4 or top 3 defense in the league. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind if you're going to bet this game.
No, that's foreshadowing. So I'm taking Knicks plus 5 here and Knicks money line.
Same.
Milwaukee has been terrible on defense this year.
God awful. Damian
Lillard is a liability on defense, always has been, which is one of the reasons why, like I've always said, you need to put a defensive shooting guard next to him. Mm-hmm. It almost would have been better if they traded Chris Middleton instead of Drew Holiday. And just put Dame and Drew in the backcourt. But it is what it is. I like the Knicks a lot this year. I think this Knicks team is built for this kind of stuff where they're going to get up for it. I think shots are going to be hard to come by in this game. So give me the under, give me Knicks plus 5, and give me Knicks money line. Do you agree or disagree with any of that?
I agree. The only thing I would be nervous about would be the under, simply because you have guys, Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Giannis. You have guys that can go give you a 50-burger if they want. Regardless of how good a defense is, there's certain guys you just can't stop if they're on. And this is one of those things where $500,000 is on the line. I can see Brunson and Giannis both putting up 40-point games.
I can see them playing tight as well.
I can too as well. But what you talked about earlier and what we talked about last night is we're a little upset that we're seeing teams compete way harder than they would traditionally in the regular season, which is kind of upsetting. But I don't know, man. I still think even if they're competing on the defensive end, the league is designed for higher scoring. So that's why I'm saying that.
Sure. All right. Fade the under.
Yeah.
Knicks are winning this game, though.
And then I do have the in-season tournament odds. Even though the Pelicans are the only team actually in the semifinals, they still don't have the best odds to win it. The Bucks are the favorites at plus 300. The Pelicans plus 350. Lakers, Pacers tied at plus 450. Phoenix plus 550. And the New York Knicks, the disrespect, putting them at plus 900.
The Indiana Pacers are also in the semifinals, just to let you know.
Oh, no shit, duh. There's 2 games.
We just talked about it.
Duh! But,
yeah, so the bracket we have is obviously, since we're doing this the day after, so we already know the Pacers and Pelicans have advanced. We've now picked the Lakers and Knicks to advance. Look, man, it's LeBron fans want this NBA Cup. Mm-hmm. LeBron wants this for his team and for the money. And I think that he wants to say that he was the first ever to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And which all great motivations, all great motivations. And then they're also going to use this to be like, oh yeah, well, how many NBA Cups does Jordan have? You know what I mean? So
fucking God,
you already know those arguments are coming because that's all it ever is dominated by. So I think you getting Lakers plus 450 right now
solid money
is great money. The other team who has the same odds, the Indiana Pacers at plus 450, I have never seen a fan base and team be so behind one singular focus like this early in December before.
Yeah.
I just want it for the Indiana Pacers organization. I want it for the fan base. I want it for, everyone to recognize the Indiana Pacers on, a bigger stage, and they are a name to watch out for in this postseason. Mm-hmm. So I like both of those plus 450 teams. Where's your head on this?
I like exactly what you said. LeBron and those boys playing for money. They had the highest point differential. They are a top 10 defense. Yeah, I'd say that's safe money. Indiana Pacers, highest scoring offense in the league. Record-setting pace, like you talked about earlier. I don't think it's sustainable. We'll see. So solid money. But me, personally, give me New York Knicks, baby. I fucking hate them. I'm a Sixers fan, and it's a big rival for us, but I don't care. I want to see those boys win. New York needs something. They got the Jets. They got the Giants. The Yankees. I almost said Red Sox. Mets. Just a whole bunch of failure. And we know the Knicks aren't going to win the NBA championship. So let's go ahead and give them this NBA Cup so the city of New York can fucking lose their mind for a day.
Yeah, I mean, they're 12-7 right now, so they're a damn good ball team. Ball club. I don't know why I said ball team.
Nobody's talking about them right now, even myself. But in doing research and prep for this episode, to see New York top 10 offense, top 3 defense, man, this. When we talked about earlier about that Joel trade to the Knicks, man, I might take that up, dude. If it all goes south, get out players so we can stay relevant for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks, they still have their offensive challenges, right? So they have 110.9 points per game. Then their opponent's points per game is 105.5. They are on a 7-3 pace right now in their last 10. So the New York Knicks are playing red hot. Their offense is concerning to me. It always will be, and maybe it's just a byproduct of a Tom Thibodeau system, where they don't really have that guy who's going to go get you an easy mid-range jumper. The Kawhi Leonards, the Paul Georges, the LeBron James, the Jason Tatums, the Brandon Ingrams, the DeMar DeRozans. Like, they don't have anyone like that on that squad. Julius Randle's having his San Francisco Giants down year. He seems like he's good every other year, and he's been struggling right now. He's probably turned around the woes. I haven't really dug into the statistics, but eyeballs and early statistics said that Julius Randle was struggling. Similar to Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is shooting 33% from 3. He's shooting 42% from the field. Those are not good numbers. That's bad. It's bad.
For the standard he set for himself.
It's bad, and it's especially bad for the contracts attached to it, right? It's bad for former All-Stars. That's just a byproduct of it. So Eric's taking the Knicks, and then I'll take the Lakers to win the NBA Cup. It's all closing out this week. Quarterfinals wrap today, Tuesday. You'll have the semifinals on Thursday, both games, and then you'll have the actual title game on Saturday.
Yep. Just to circle back to the episode where we originally discussed the NBA Cup, Nicholas took Minnesota at plus 2,200 to win it, so he's an idiot. JC took Oklahoma City at plus 2,200, so you're an idiot.
Something hundreds.
And I took Dallas at plus 2,200, and it was just unfortunate they didn't make it. I should be right, but...
Your team wasn't even in the running. The Thunder and Timberwolves were in the running, but we're the idiots. Let's go ahead and get into the NFL Week 13 review. Eric, what are your 2 takeaways for the week?
Number 1 takeaway is bubble screens and slants will make you an MVP candidate, Brock Purdy. And then my second takeaway is Jake Browning is the next $80 million man in Minnesota. So let's go ahead and just get him contract, get him signed over there, so we can get that man the Kirk Cousins love that he deserves. Those are my takes. I only watched 2 games this week.
It was just all so angry.
It's the only 2 games I watched. I'm fucking over football already.
I'm over football. It's November already, but or now it's December, so I'm extra over football. I will say that the everyone getting mad at the refs for the Packers no calls against the Kansas City Chiefs needs to go watch other Kansas City Chiefs games.
Hilarious.
It's almost as if a karmic repositioning happened and the Kansas City Chiefs got hit with everything in a meaningless Sunday night football game.
Yeah.
Look, the refs always and forever will miss calls. They want it that way, so that way they can fix their shit and have it go the way they want it to go. Sometimes they don't always get it the way they want it to go, but you trust me. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL are all registered as entertainment businesses. Therefore, they can fix games. If you don't think some shenanigans is afoot with some of these calls.
I always thought it was conspiracy and just hearsay or people just being mad. And then when we discussed it, actually, they're registered as entertainment companies.
Yes.
So the same rules don't apply to them.
It doesn't apply.
It's fucking outlandish. Of course they're rigging this shit.
Yeah.
It's the WWE with higher stakes.
100 with.
And if you're not on YouTube, it's air quotes, higher stakes.
Exactly.
Fucking
so
it
is what it is. Just let go of the reffing decisions, right?
Yeah.
Let it go. It's going to happen. Your team's going to have 3 or 4 calls a game that go against him that you don't understand. And then you're not going to get 3 or 4 calls of the same shit. It's going to happen every week. And yet everyone continues to waste their breath and energy on it. Breath and time on it.
Yeah.
I could go a lot of different ways here, but Jesus Christ, Patrick Mahomes, if Tua and Lamar Jackson get hurt, who's left at quarterback to compete with Patrick Mahomes, right? Because Trevor Lawrence is hurt now.
I was just going to say Trevor Lawrence.
Joe Burrow's hurt, right? This is setting up for Patrick Mahomes to get into the playoffs, and he's going to mollywop Jake Browning. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't hate on Jake Browning, bro. That is the next quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I guarantee it,
bro. Honestly, we joked about this last night. I honestly 100. I was thinking it like this guy could get signed by Minnesota.
Listen, and when I said he's the next $80 million man for Minnesota, I'm not being an asshole about it. He's probably not worth $80 million. At the time, it didn't feel like Kirk was, but Kirk's done nothing but put up fucking numbers, and he's just been let down by other players. So I got nothing but love for Kirk. And I think it's an honor to be the next Kirk in Minnesota if you're Jake Browning. So take it disrespectfully if you want. Certain people that I know are going to text me tomorrow about this, but I didn't mean it disrespectfully. So fuck off.
Yeah, you did, liar. I didn't mean it like that. Fucking liar. Stick to your guns.
No, I actually do think Kirk Cousins is the most hated on for no reason quarterback in the league.
All right, so since Nick's not here, give us your third takeaway.
My third takeaway, even though I didn't watch too much football, I'll go ahead and say let me just scroll through the games here real quick and see something here.
I'll go first. Justin Herbert. Look, we got to stop putting him up there with all the other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yes, he makes the throws. Yes, he has the statistics. Yes, his wide receivers and running backs have some awful drops every year for him.
Yeah.
Until he starts to win big-time games. I know he just won 6-0. That's not a big-time game. But until he starts to win these big-time games by him, I'm not putting him up there with these other quarterbacks. Mm. He has a worse primetime winning. He's below 500 primetime winning. One-score games the last 2-3 years. He's below 500. Justin Herbert is getting $250 million damn near, right? He's getting $250 million damn near.
Hold on. $250 million for 6 points against the Patriots.
It's time to start holding him accountable. If we're going to hold Dak Prescott accountable, if we're going to bash Brock Purdy for doing exactly what needs to be done to win football games, if we're going to trash Kirk Cousins, if we're going to say Jalen Hurts isn't that good this year, if we're going to be out on Tua, right? If we're going to say Tua needs to be traded, the Miami Dolphins should go a completely different way. Don't forget, that was the narrative around Tua. It's time to start addressing Justin Herbert accordingly. And I feel like that narrative has not changed. So I'm going to continue to harp on it until people actually understand Justin Herbert is getting paid like he is a X-factor game-changing difference maker. He is not showing up like that when the games count.
Yeah.
So come at me with Justin Herbert, but until he proves me wrong, that is going to be the narrative on him.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to argue with you because I picked the Chargers to win the Super Bowl.
Me too.
I picked them. I picked Herbert to be MVP. I've done it multiple years in a row. I got nothing but love for the dude. But at this point, just retire, dude, because you can't win a football game that matters. Anyway, I guess my takeaway was, and I'm going to have to go with this one because I did catch like a good, half of the game. So the Packers. I think LaFleur's found a way to turn it around a little bit. I think people fucking threw in the towel on Jordan Love way too fucking early.
Couple starts into his actual career. You know what I mean? No big deal.
And my takeaway is not that the Packers are doing it. My takeaway is this. RELAX. In the words of the great Aaron Rodgers, everybody needs to chill the fuck out for the first 8 to 9 weeks of the season because you don't know what's going to happen. People have slumps. People fucking look at the Eagles. Fucking cruising, like barely winning games all year. Eagles fans are screaming the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. And then it catches up to you, right? The reverse side. You could be having bad games, losing close games. Your run game's not established. You got an O lineman out, a key piece missing. How about we just chill? Let's get halfway through the season before we start making all these declarations and canceling people's careers and shit.
Bro, it's the same thing Will Levis has. I mean, can you tell me how many starts Will Levis has in his career?
I'm pretty sure it's 4, but let me go look.
Bro, it's if we can count them on one hand, you should not be declaring somebody a bust. You should not be saying they don't got it. Like Tennessee just traded up to get him. They spent a second-round pick on him. How about we give him a full slate of games before we declare him not having it? It's unreal, like how quickly everyone just has to be first to everything. They just have to. They have to be first on everything, and you have to make sweeping declarations on players.
He's a rookie this year, right?
He just got drafted.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Correct. So, 6 games.
So he has 6 starts. Actually, and one of them, I think he came in relief because Ryan Tannehill got hurt. So it's not even 6 starts. It's 6 games, 5 starts.
Look, dude, 5 starts, 6 games, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with a 57% completion percentage. We can probably get that up a little bit. But, dude, 57% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's been sacked 19 times. It's god awful. But, I mean, that's not piss poor. That's not losing you games. He's not throwing picks like he's fucking Tim Boyle at fucking UConn.
He's actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, like, dude, let's just chill, bro. Everybody just take a chill pill and just let the season play out before you start crucifying people.
If it's Derek Carr, right, and we've seen him for 10 years, yeah, you can say something. Will Levis has 6 games. You don't even know what you don't know in 6 games.
How could you?
Bryce Young, bust. People are already labeling him bust.
And it goes for both sides. We're not going to label Bryce Young and Will Levis bust, and we're not going to label CJ Stroud a GOAT yet, okay? Let's give them 3 or 4 fucking years of whatever they do before we start putting titles or saying, or maybe not 3 years for a bust. Like if you're a quarterback and you can't get it together in like 2 or 3 years, get the fuck out.
2 years. You get 2 years. You get 34 games. Just at like maybe that's maximum, right? You could probably tell him at the 18 game mark. Like Jordan Love probably has 11 starts total in his career. So he started every game this year. So he probably has 17 starts. We don't know what we don't know about him. Will Levis has a 31-year-old alpha wide receiver. That's the only motherfucker who seems to be able to do anything offensively. He's got a 30-year-old running back, right? He has no offensive line. Bryce Young, same fucking thing. 31-year-old wide receiver is his alpha, right? His offensive line is using the swinging gate technique.
He's only started 13 games, by the way.
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy for us to just sit here and be like, to just already say they're bad.
Yeah, I just, as a fan, when it comes to the Eagles, I'm very all over the place. Like after Sunday's loss, I was like, blow it up, sell Jalen, fucking sell the franchise. I was mad, but that's just the in the moment anger type thing. When you sit back and look at it, we're still a 10-2 team, right? there's no reason to fucking say they're not Super Bowl contenders anymore or they are Super Bowl contenders. How about we just play out the rest of the season and see how it fucking
How
goes?
can you say they're not a Super Bowl contender when they lost to a Super Bowl contender but just beat Super Bowl contenders? Relax. It is one game. It is one game.
And I don't want to get stuck on this game because I'm a fan of the team, but also this was their regular season Super Bowl for the Niners. This is the game they had circled on their calendar. This is what they've been talking about all year, crying about Bradbury can't cover, crying about Brock Purdy wouldn't have been injured. Well, then block for him. But anyway, so this was a big game for them, and I think they came out with way more energy. And also, if we see them again in the playoffs, it's hard to win twice against the same team. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's one game. It's one game. It doesn't mean the Eagles' 10 wins are no longer valid, right?
It doesn't invalidate anything we've done.
It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy. The Dallas Cowboys have one win against a 500 team, and they're crowning Dak MVP and saying that, the Dallas Cowboys are the team to beat. It's just like, look, relax. It's one game. They are red hot right now. They beat one team over 500. Let's see them play Philly. Let's see them play Buffalo. Let's see them play Miami. Let's see this schedule play out.
Yeah.
You may be right. Dallas may be the team to beat.
Yeah.
We don't know right now. Like, take a fucking breath, everyone. And now, with that being said, I'm out on Josh Allen and the Bills. I said that at the beginning of the year.
I don't blame you, dude. He's a pussy.
Just saying. All right, so NFL pick'em records right now. Nick is 56, 52, and 2. I'm 52, 69, and 4, and Eric's 11 and 19. We're going to get into the NFL Week 14 preview. Nick's Nuggets for the week. I won't go through what the logic is on these. I'm just going to give you the bets that he has. Obviously, he's 4 games above 500 with 2 pushes right now. So he's taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Atlanta Falcons over 39. He's taking Detroit -3, Chicago team total over 20. Detroit versus Chicago over 40.5 points. Carolina +5.5. Wow, Nick is on board with that. That's crazy.
Can I tell you here, Carolina and New Orleans' last 5 games spread has been inside 5 points.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I actually, spoiler alert, Eric, you can go ahead and put this in. I think Carolina wins this football game. I don't think Derek Carr plays.
Okay.
And the New Orleans Saints defense is old and tired. There might be a little bias here because I want Dennis Allen to be fired.
Yeah.
And I want a top 10 pick. So maybe that's why I'm picking this.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, from what I've seen from the Saints, look, we lost by 5 to the Lions, but we were down 21-0 in the first 7 minutes of the football game.
Yeah.
It's not a good ball club. The injuries are mounting up. Malcolm Roach is hurt. Cam Jordan's hurt. Marshawn Lattimore's on IR. Michael Thomas is on IR. Rashid Shaheed's out. Jawan Johnson was hurt most of the season. Now he's back. Kendre Miller is out. Like, we have offensive linemen out. DeMario Davis is hurt. He's missed like 1 game his entire career. And that guy's hurt. Like, there's just we're fucked everywhere on the field. And if Jameis Winston has to come in to a football game and be the starter, there's one thing that opposing teams like more than playing against Jameis Winston. And that's winning football games. That's the only thing they like more. That dude's guaranteed to give you 2 picks and short fields. So it's a very good bet in my opinion. So the very next bet for Knicks Nuggets is Baltimore -7, Minnesota -3, Seattle versus San Francisco over 47, San Francisco -10.5, Buffalo +2.5. What is going on with Seattle? Seattle was just 8.5-point dogs against Dallas, and they dropped 32 on them, didn't they?
They dropped 35 because the game was 41-35, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, 41 is a lot of points, but like we're -10.5. Why is the spread so fucking big? Buffalo +2.5. Buffalo money line. Denver versus Las Vegas under 44. Philly versus Dallas over 53. Dallas -3.5. Dallas over 29 team total. And last but not least, Miami -13.
Just because I know Nick puts a lot of work into there, so I'm going to be a little respectful of that. And just to give you guys some things here. So for the Tampa Bay Atlanta game, the over is 39. He said play it up to 47. The total has not been less than 47 in the last 5 years. Moving into Detroit, for that one, he took Detroit -3, Chicago team total over 20. which means the Detroit team total would need to be over 23. So the autoplay is over 40.5. So there's money there. Is the Detroit -3, Chicago over 20, the over 40.5, and might as well just take Detroit over 23 if you think all that's going to play out. Moving into the Seattle San Francisco game, the over is 47. He said play it to 49. Little stats here for you. Faves with the greater than 9.5 spread are 18-13 against the spread and 26-5 straight up this year. The over in these games is 21-10. That's a 68% win percentage. In this matchup, the over has been greater than 47 for the last 5. San Francisco is 10-4-1 since 2019 with a rest disadvantage, and Seattle is 5-7 with a rest advantage. I just want to make sure you guys have all the information there. Nick put a lot of work into it. And then for the Denver, did we already talk about Denver LAC, or did we stop at Buffalo?
I've already read all his bets.
You read all? Yeah, so Denver LAC or Los Angeles Chargers, 3 of the last 5 under 44. The highest scoring total being 35. The under set at 44. Play that all the way to 35 if you're confident in it. Philly-Dallas. Philly's on a 5-game losing streak in Dallas. In those 5 games, the total has been at least 53, and Dallas has scored at least 29. That's why we're taking Dallas -3.5. Dallas team total over 29. Sorry, last stat here for you. Dallas scored at least 20. Also, when playing a rest advantage, the Cowgirls are 11-4 with a rest advantage, and the Eagles are 7-9 with a rest disadvantage. And then the last game here, Miami faves with greater than 9.5 point spread are 18-13, 26-5 on the season. 26-5 straight up on the season. The over in these games is 21-10, 68%. Miami -13. He didn't give us anything on the over though.
Okay.
Yeah, he typed it all up, and we've been giving people stats all year on it. I want to make sure they keep getting the same information.
Yeah, he's not here to give them though. That's why we're already at 120. So I was trying to speed it up.
All right.
But yeah, that's the logic. It's the same logic he's used all year.
Yeah.
Right. So if you've been listening to the podcast, the same Knicks Nuggets have been leveraged all year. So that's why we didn't read them. But Eric put the information out for you. Use it as you will. Eric, let's go ahead and go through this slate here. We'll go with the first Thursday night football game. We're just going to abstain. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's Patriots Steelers. Who the fuck wants to see this football game?
I'm not watching it.
Look at the over-under.
30
points.
Yeah.
So just to be spiteful, give me the under 30. I fucking cannot believe that this is a third. Why would Amazon pay money for these football games?
I don't know.
It's an awful, awful football game. Very next game, you have the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets. But it's an interesting dynamic. I think Houston wins the football game. 5.5 is a lot of points. We don't even know who the goddamn quarterback is, but the Jets defense is legit. The Texans probably could cover this. The Jets will continue to not score points, so give me the under 33.
Your Jets versus Houston.
Detroit Lions have one of the worst red zone defenses in football this season, as evidenced by the New Orleans Saints going 0 for 5 versus Atlanta in the red zone and then going 4 for 4 versus Detroit in the red zone. Give me the over 40.5 in this ball game and give me the Detroit Lions -3. I think Justin Fields keeps it close, but at the end of the day, Chicago will make one interception or one sack or one fumble or one running back hit behind the line of scrimmage that will cost them the football game. We see it week in and week out from this ball club. Next, you have the Rams versus Ravens. The Los Angeles Rams with a running game. I will continue to say this. As long as Sean McVay has a running game, are in all games. Do I think the Rams win this ball game? Absolutely not. I'll take the over 40 and the Rams +7 because I think the Rams can have a late backdoor cover in this ball game. Very next game, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Cleveland Browns, the quarterback matchup of CJ Beathard versus Joe Flacco, the one that we all circled the schedule for. Give me the under 30.5 in this ball game. And I am actually going to take I'll put that in a parlay. But I think Cleveland wins this ball game, so I'm going to take that -155 parlay. Give me Carolina Panthers +5. Give me over 37.5. And in this game, anytime touchdown scorer for Alvin Kamara, and anytime touchdown scorer for Jonathan Mingo. They understand that they have one win on the season, and they have decided to stop running Adam Thielen, 31-year-old Adam Thielen, out there for 100% snaps, having him do wind sprints. They're going to give him some time off, and they've been moving towards Jonathan Mingo. You've seen an uptick in production, and I think with Marshawn Lattimore and the way that the Saints defense is being exposed lately, I think Jonathan Mingo can get a score. I might have to start giving out some anytime touchdowns for players in these games. It's pretty good at them. Colts, Bengals, Colts money line. I love it. The Colts buy points on the over under. The Colts defense. The average Colts game is 50 points this year. That's the average, right? So 40 over under is crazy. Give me the over 40, buy points, hit over 45 if you want. Fantastic value there. I'm going to take the Colts money line. I just like what Gardner Minshew's been doing with this Colts. There's more pedigree through the season on this. And we see this with backup quarterbacks, right? Jake Browning just had the Monday Night Football Tom Brady performance running out of that locker room. And in the very next game, we're going to see him throw 3 interceptions and have a 50% completion rate, right? So we see these yo-yo games from some of these backup quarterbacks. So I'm going to go ahead and ride the Gardner Minshew train here. Tampa Bay, I'm going to take the Buccaneers money line at plus 114. And I think, what was Nick's nugget on this one? He went over on this, right?
Which one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go over on this one. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Hopefully Arthur Smith gets his head out of his ass and throws the football. But New York Jets defense, it's tough. It's legitimate. So I won't hold that too much against them. Give me the over-under in the San Francisco 49ers Seattle Seahawks game, 47. And, I guess Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker are hurt right now.
You said under 47.
No, over.
Oh, over.
Over.
I was like, okay.
No, dude. Anytime San Francisco has all their weapons, they can score 30 in a ball game.
Yeah, on slants and bubble screens.
Well, if your linebackers can tackle.
No, it works. I'm hating on it because it beat my team, but it clearly works. The Patriots did it for 20 years. Now they're doing it, and they're crushing it.
Yeah, and that's what's so funny is everyone gets mad at it. Everyone's just like, oh, I could – like what did I see today? Micah Parsons has a show, which is just nonsense and it's with Bleacher Report, so they just inundate me with his goddamn fucking takes. But I guess in defense of Dak being the MVP, it's easy to throw slants and bubble screens in reference to Tua and Brock Purdy. What fucking games are you watching, bro? Like, Tua is airing the ball out every fucking play. And Brock Purdy is hitting fucking tight window throws to Brandon Ayuk on the sideline over and over again. Like, yeah, Debo can house shit for sure. Christian McCaffrey can pick up 30 yards. But to say that these guys aren't hitting big-time throws is fucking bonkers.
No, I totally agree with you that it's disrespectful to sit here and say that they're limited to just bubble screens and all that because they're clearly so much more than that. But it's the method in which they beat people which is fantastic. Again, this is game planning, this is scheming, and I don't hate it. Like, I wish my team could execute it a little bit better, but a lot of their points, a lot of their stuff comes from yards after catch from the receivers, but they went and drafted these guys for that reason. So let's not fucking sit here and crucify a team for having the type of player they want, for getting that player, and for that player executing, and for them running the offense the way it's supposed to be ran. So if
it's just slants and bubble screens, then how the fuck did the Dallas Cowboys not stop everything if it's 10 yards, if it's within 10 yards? Because that's what he's saying.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
He's saying like it just fucking blows my mind. Just hype your boy Dak up. Why you got to tear other people down? Brock Purdy balled the fuck out. Should he be an MVP favorite? Absolutely. He's been fucking balling out all year. It's just crazy, dude. It's crazy how everyone just gets belittled. If everyone could do it, then everyone would do it, right? Why is Bryce Young not succeeding on slants and bubble screens?
like I said, I gave them all their respect before I went on the rant. Like they drafted the players they wanted. They have a scheme. They those players fit that scheme, and they execute it perfectly. I respect all that. But I'm gonna hate on it because they beat my team. Fucking.
I'm not talking about you.
Or you're just talking about people.
I'm talking about Micah Parsons and the media.
Oh, people are just angry. People are just haters. He's Mr. Irrelevant, and they just don't want to give him the credit for the work he's put in. And
if he was a black quarterback, oh my God,
he'd already had 4 MVPs. He's only played 2 years.
That is a polarizing opinion in its own right. So like that's just crazy.
Oh my God, if a young black quarterback was doing what Brock Purdy was doing, he'd already be Jesus,
bro.
Every guy would have a chain of him. Whatever. Let's not get into it.
Yeah, with ESPN, with mainstream media, that's the way it would be. Everyone else is going to call it the way they're going to call it, but with mainstream media, my goodness, he would be everywhere. Brock Purdy is a rookie. He has started now. He has finally started 1 season of games, and he's been outstanding that whole time. Mm-hmm. And I bet you people are still going to say, "Oh, I'd rather have CJ Stroud instead of Brock Purdy."
Yeah, some people did. Also, the only thing that I think is going to be a problem for Brock Purdy is the upcoming retirement of Trent Williams. That'll be devastating to him. But other than that, that dude's going to be just fine.
They have a first-round pick. They don't have needs anywhere else except for the secondary. They do have needs in the secondary.
And the rest of the O-line's chopped up outside of Trent Williams.
That O-line is very good. That's why they let Mike McGlinchey walk in the offseason.
They've been struggling this year, apparently. I guess they struggled more in the games where Trent was out, so I guess that is
just like the Eagles struggled without Lane Johnson.
Dude, we're undefeated with Lane Johnson. We don't have a minus 75.
Great players will swing statistics for sure. Like that's so funny. Let's get into this Vikings-Raiders game. I love how everyone is immediately out on Josh Dobbs. Like, the dude is not allowed to have a bad game because he's a journeyman quarterback. The minute he has a bad game as a journeyman quarterback, everyone's out on it. Give me Vikings -3.
I like it.
I think their coach is fantastic. I think Justin Jefferson's going to be back, and they're coming off a bye. So I'll take the Minnesota Vikings off a bye. Mm-hmm. And they're 3-point favorites heading into Vegas. And Brian Flores is coaching up that defense. Absolutely. If Aiden O'Connell's still the quarterback, I'm not worried about it. Minnesota -3. Bills, Chiefs, all I know is over 47.5. that is what I'm going to take. These two ball out when they play each other. Anytime touchdown scorer for Rashee Rice and anytime touchdown scorer for Gabe Davis. That's right. I know the much maligned Gabe Davis because you can't count on him in fantasy. But I think Gabe Davis gets a touchdown this week. Also, Dalton Kincaid, anytime touchdown scorer.
It's crazy to me that this is the best defense Patrick's ever had, and he's struggling the most this year.
Yeah, so this brings me to the point that I asked in our text chat. Does Matt Nagy need to be fired?
Yes, 100%.
So for those of you who don't know why I'm asking this, Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator. He left to Washington. Eric Bieniemy arguably last year had worse weapons than this year. I know Travis Kelce's gotten hurt, but I mean, the number 1 wide receiver last year was Juju Smith-Schuster. And what has Juju Smith-Schuster done this year?
Nothing.
Marquez Valdes-Scantling has just dropped footballs. So, yeah, I think Eric Bieniemy, like Matt Nagy might be the problem.
I do think because Andy Reid's had success throughout his whole career, right? He's very rarely does he have a down year. He is okay with giving up play calling duties to OCs, and Bieniemy had it for 3-4 years. I can't remember what it was.
It was 2 years before he left because people still didn't value him.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. I think we saw what Nagy did with the Bears, which wasn't much, and
he made the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he should be gone because you can't have this quarterback and this talent and this O-line and this defense and be, they're 8-3, I can't remember, or 9-3, I can't remember.
8-4.
They're 8-4. I can't honestly, dude, I don't know. It's a tough question. I would fire him just because I hate him, but maybe he shouldn't get fired. Maybe we're doing that.
What have you seen from a play calling perspective that says Matt Nagy should stay? That is the question that you should ask.
Nothing.
The way he's deploying wide receivers, where each wide receiver is only getting about 50% of snaps, Pick 2, pick 3, and roll with them. Like, stop breaking up rhythm and chemistry and subbing out all these people and trying to be cute and running these side screens with Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, these end arounds. It's not working. The play calling is not working. Patrick Mahomes is literally making magic out of these play calls. And the rookie coming on in Rashee Rice has really bailed them out. He's the one player who can catch and run right now. Travis Kelce is hampered. He can't catch and run right now. Rashee Rice is the one player who can catch and run, which is what Brock Purdy gets knocked for. But now you're seeing how it's affecting Patrick Mahomes because he doesn't have anyone who can catch and run.
Yeah.
So it's so fucking fascinating how people dissect all these teams and they just don't keep it consistent.
Yeah.
So Kansas City, I'll take them -2.5 because they're at home, and it seems like Patrick Mahomes is Josh Allen's number. I'll take Broncos money line in the next one. I'll take the over 44 in that ball game. I'll take the over 53 in the Eagles-Cowboys ball game.
All right, fam, I need you to slow down like a tiny bit here. You said Philly versus Dallas over 53?
Correct.
All right.
Oh, man. Is Derrick Henry out? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Give me Miami Dolphins -13 because fuck the Titans.
All right.
And oddly enough, I'm going to assume Derrick Henry's out. I'm going to go under 47.5.
Oh. Under 47.5. All right.
Give me under 37 in the Packers-Giants game. And give me give me Packers -7.
It's a playoff team right there, baby.
I actually really like Jordan Love, so I thought he was good coming out of the draft. I thought he played well initially to start the season, and then you looked at his stats and you're like, "Oh man, he's not really playing that well." And then it showed up on the film, and then since the bye, Jordan Love has been fantastic.
He has. This is what we were talking about earlier. Like everybody wrote him off, and he's playing fucking fire right now.
I know it's almost like imagine a good head coach with time, right, and a player with time playing. It's almost like whoa. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine you give the kids time to play football and learn at the speed of football. I will say this. I think I heard it when you were watching Pat McAfee, but Aaron Rodgers didn't make the playoffs with his Packers team last year.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love has them 500 ball club right now, despite starting 2-5, I think, in their first 7 games. They're now 6-6. So there's 6-6 with wins over Detroit, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Although the Chargers, I guess, is not. Not that impressive.
That's a W for everybody the rest of the year.
Dude, fade the Chargers. I'm so hot at them. Dude,
unreal, dude.
It's fucking bonkers, dude. So Eric says that he doesn't have any bets. Ran a little long today. It seems to happen when it's just 2 people.
Yeah, they just get caught up in it.
Everyone gets room to breathe and actually say what they want because Nick's not here.
I was trying not to. You beat me too.
Anytime I could take a shot, I will. That was 1,010,000 bets from me. So that means I'm going to miss on all of them. Don't forget to subscribe to Podcast Motto, #FadeUs. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast Room303. I've been your host, Jermaine Colon-Mendez. This has been my executive producer, the EPE. We'll see you next time when you come on down and step into the room.